Yeah, I think
Well,
it's been great so far, though.
no,
It's good.
and that coming from you is a huge piece, Tony, because I'll be honest, how I started this, even though we're talking relationship revolution, creating a master list, we're going to hit on that today, what that means, but feeding that database every day. Um, it took me 6 months to just start doing five a day. I tried five a day for 6 months and failed for 6 months. And I was trying to create the perfect follow up system. So if I'm going to feed the database every day, I wanted to have the follow up system in place. And it was 8 touches in the first 8 weeks, which I call the brand plan, because what you're doing is you're branding you in the real estate spot in somebody's brain. And then
Right.
the 33 touch is to keep you top of mind. So, what I'm going through right now, the last 7 years, 8 years now, I turned my database over. Systems have been running for over 20 years, selling 100 homes a year. The phone is ringing with business. I'm not having to go lead generate for business. I'm totally like completely out of buying leads. Anybody love buying leads, buying internet leads? This is literally, it turned it around to where I call it make the phone ring again. And it was literally my phone was ringing with business out of my database. And that was 100 sales a year for over 20 years. I mean, consecutive years, not just kind of random. So if your business is still like you don't know exactly how many deals you're going to do every month or every year, your business is just kind of running. It's just running on it's running on your energy, and it's not systematized and automated to where you can absolutely count on it. So I really got spoiled for, after 3, 4, 5 years of doing 100, 100, 100, I was like, I expect 100 sales every single year. And I did for 20 years. So then I wrote the book with Michael Gerber in 2016. Took me till 2018 or 17 to get done with it. So in 2017, I'm thinking that might be the next version, is to take this book out to the world and share all these systems with everybody. So this top team in our office is like, hey, you should partner with us. We get Brad Korn's 100 sales a year. He's now a team member with us, and we'll run the database and you go do your book thing and share it with agents around the country. And we were expanding that model throughout the country. Um, they didn't run the systems. All they had to do was go to the dashboard every day and do what it said to do. Call these people, mail these letters. The emails will go out automatically. The tasks on the contracts that we're running, just do that item that needs to be done in the sequence that it needs to be done in, so that when closing day comes up, everything that needed to be done was done. So this is even more than just the relationship revolution. It's really the system to sell 100 homes a year. And you can't sell 100 homes a year without everything being systematized. So you guys will get a glimpse at all the different systems that are running. One of them, for example, from the time we get a contract until it closes, there's all this stuff that has to happen. And what's built into the system are the things that you would think you'd kind of just do naturally. But if you were to be gone for 3 or 4 weeks, and in my case, I was gone for 5 months. My wife and partner of 20 years was in a car accident, going to pick up a client. She was by herself at the time, had not picked up her client yet, gotten a head on collision. And she did survive, but 2 weeks after the accident, after she got off crutches and was kind of getting back to normal, she just didn't wake up one day. And I spent the next 5 months by her bedside in a coma, trying to get her out of a coma. And here's what I want you guys to hear from that, though. This was in 2015. So we're talking from June until November of 2015. My business partner of 20 years and my wife is in a coma, and I'm by her bedside every day of the week. Came home one day a week. We were in Lincoln, Nebraska for most of that at a brain injury hospital. Came home one night a week to do the listings. I was the only listing agent on our team, and we had one assistant and one showing agent that had just come back on the team. So she left for about 5, 6 years, went and had a whole bunch of babies, and then she like was ready to come back to work. So she came back to our team because she knew I had these systems in place and she plugged right in. So I had nobody doing listing appointments for me. I didn't have a listing partner. I didn't have a big team of 10 people. And I was 3 hours away for 4 of those 5 months. And we sold 97 homes that year with one assistant, one showing person to handle the calls that came in, and me as the listing agent. So that just proved those systems really did run the business. And you want a system driven business, not a people driven business. And, Tony and I are both in high level coaching certifications. I mean, he's got Tony Robbins in his background. I've got Michael Gerber, myself, Gary Keller. I taught that Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and the systems and the models. But what's interesting, Tony, I don't know if I've ever told you this. If you read that red book, which is kind of like the blueprint for running a $1 million real estate business, I had already implemented most of that stuff before that book was ever written from Michael Gerber's book. I just didn't know what to call it then because nobody was doing this. Nobody, like Don Hobbs is one of our business partners. Right now, we work with Don, and he created and did a study, a marketing study, and figured out that 8 touches in 8 weeks after you meet someone will move you to the top of a person's mind so that when they think of real estate, you're the first person they think of. And I talk a lot about that test, and it even matches up with the National Association of Realtors statistics. That one of the stats you may have heard before is that 76% of all sellers talk to one agent and list their house, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when 76% of all sellers talk to one agent and list their house, that means that less than 25% will talk to two or three, right? In fact, it's like 82% will talk to a second agent, or not 82% of that remaining, that 76% to 82. So 10% will talk to two agents, and then another like 6 or 7 or 8% will talk to a third agent. And that's because they don't have somebody top of mind. But most of the time, that 76% of the time, they're talking to one agent. That means if you go on, I mean, if you're going on 4 listing appointments, you're going to get 3 out of 4 of them, right? So you got to become top of mind so that you're going on 4 listing appointments a month and getting 3 of them, or 4 listing appointments a week and getting 3 of them. So you're going to miss some along the way. And my statistic throughout my career was about 3% of the people that I sat down with at the kitchen table that listed did not list with me. I would miss about 3%. So I would get 97% of those listing appointments, but it's because I really focused on the database. Now,
That's great.
yeah, I'm going to share another statistic with you though, because there are people that say this, oh, I'm 100% by referral, or I'm 100% conversion rate on my listing appointments. I was 97% conversion on my listing appointments, but you got to realize that 53% of those listing appointments that I went on, 50% didn't list their house. And of the ones that did list their house on the other 50%, I missed 3% of them. I got 97% of the 50% of the listing appointments I went on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as a coach, I love it because I'm a number
Amazing
tracker. Yeah, go ahead. What's that?
I think her mute just
No worries. No worries at all. You guys can jump in anytime if you have any questions, because this is open kind of discussion as we go through the content. But what I want to impress on you is when you hear statistics, we as real estate agents like to say numbers that make us feel good. And when you become a coach, I mean, Tony can attest. When we become a coach, we become accountable to what we help agents be accountable to. And I'm telling you, it's a 50% conversion rate of, like, I go sit at 200 kitchen tables to get 100 people that will actually list, and I get 97 of them. Does that make sense? So those numbers, when you're really tracking it and being honest about it, you can figure that out. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to kick this off, guys. This is the most important reason why you want to be jumping in on this call every week if you can. There is a weird change happening in the real estate industry right now. And that is, I have already noticed just in the last 2 weeks, agents that have been around forever are posting and sharing like they are missing out on listings from their database. People that they have been in touch with and sold houses to over years and years of real estate are listing with random agents. Random, like, and it's happened to me. I've got a best friend in my wedding. He was my best man in my wedding. He really is just a seller that called me. He was like one of my first or second sales in real estate. I've sold him 3 houses since then. I've sold all of his kids' houses, his family houses. This one gentleman is responsible for probably 9 or 10 sales. I actually got to add it up today because one, I just sold his son's house and helped him buy another house about 3 or 4 months ago, helped them tap out the market and got him top dollar. His younger son, I just saw a Facebook post, is like, hey, great house for sale. It's his. This is a guy that has sent me over probably just ten listings or sales, just sold his cousin, sister, just sold his sister a house, just sold his son a house, and his youngest son just listed with somebody that's only sold 4 houses in the last year. 4 houses. Why?
Well,
And he knows me. He knows I sell houses.
well, I think what's happening there, it's not, I think Dustin said it the other day, it's not, it's the quickest to market. It's the ones that are using the technology that are getting in front of them and just kind of cutting you off in line and getting the attention, getting the eyeballs. Or it could also be a friend of a friend. It could be the girlfriend. It could be a buddy. It could be whatever. It could be a lot of different things. But if you're saying that that's a trend, that trend is happening because they're likely using the technology at a level that maybe other agents aren't, and then you're already using the technology as well. So if it's happening with you, then it's happening that much more with everyone else,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah.
Well,
Again,
and
I've lost a lot of listings in the past, not because I never even got the call. It's my own, and it just happens. If you've been in real estate long enough,
yeah.
you unfortunately there's a lot of holes, and the best we can do is plug up as many as we can and just stay in front of people. But
But and
in
here's
today's world, it's happening more often than not.
Yeah, and the flip side of that too, Tony, is we're relying with AI, we are relying on technology to help us stay in touch with the database better. And dang it, if it's this is it. You still gotta pick up this phone and they have to hear your voice. And this is absolute proof that the relationship revolution will never go away, no matter how much technology we use. So think of it this way, all of the AI, all of the automation, all of the follow-ups that you see are all complements to a system that reminds you to pick up the phone and call everyone. And when I'm talking about call everyone, if you look at your database right now, in fact, this is something you might want to do in the background while we're going through this content. Pull up your database and see how many contact records you actually have in whatever database you're using. Also, pull up Facebook and see how many friends you have under your friends tab. The other thing I want you to do is pull up contacts on your cell phone. However, you pull up contacts and look and see how many contacts you have in your cell phone. So, like whenever we get a call that comes in or we send a call out, it'll a lot of times we'll add them to your contacts, right? So, look at your contacts in your cell phone, your friends list on Facebook, and your database. Put all those numbers together, and those are the people that I mean, they must be in your database because you connected with them somewhere along the way, right? They must be in your phone because they tried to call you or you called them, and they must be your friend. I mean, Facebook says they're your friend. They're in your friends tab, so they must be your friend, right? So these are the people that we have to talk to them. And I'm talking They need to hear your voice from A to Z on that list of all those three lists combined. Every single one of those people have to hear your voice a few times a year, right? For me, it's four times a year. That's when they pop up on the list. And I'll leave a voicemail or I'll get them on the phone once or twice a year, right? I don't talk to them. I don't talk to everyone A to Z four times a year. Everybody's got four calls and I hear their voice four times a year. It's just leaving the message and staying top of mind. And the voice is the piece that has, it's even, that's something that when I turned my business over, the reason I shared that story with you is because they told me they were making those calls and staying up on it, and they really didn't do anything. So I was on that team for 2 years, helping them expand. I trusted, well, actually, I didn't trust that they were doing the business because it was the first year with them was the first year my sales dropped down to 75 sales. I don't, I did not know what 75 sales were because I'd been doing 100 sales for 20 years. I'm like, how can that be? And then the next year I hit 50. So I knew for a fact that the system was not being run. And I challenged them that whole second year. And they were like, no, no, we're doing it. We're doing it. No, they weren't because my sales went from 100 to 75 to 50. And I'm sharing this with you. This is very important for you guys to hear this. Even though those are numbers, it could be 20 down to 10 down to 5, right? If that's what your sales volume is. Imagine going from 20 sales a year, which for most real estate agents, that's like probably just making a pretty decent living, but not cush, right? There's not an extra $100,000 sitting in your bank account. If you drop down to 5, whoo, what would you do? Like, could you make a living off of real estate? And unfortunately, that is where a lot of our agents are today. But I knew, like, when I took that business back over, I broke that partnership, grabbed my database back, and guys, it my database is huge. It has taken me 7 years to go back through A to Z, which I haven't had to do this in 25 years, Tony. I had to go back through and reconnect with everybody because here's the post that I saw from an agent that's been around longer than me. She said, I got a call from a client that said they were sorry to hear that I was not selling real estate anymore. And she's like, I'm selling real estate every day. And what Tony just said, where that technology or somebody knows somebody and these younger kids get in for the opportunity, and they have used this in my market. My competition has used this against me in my market. Oh, Brad's speaking and coaching and going all around the country. He's not really selling real estate anymore. So if you're sitting in front of somebody that goes, oh, I know Brad Korn, boy, you're getting scared instantly because you know the second they get a hold of me, I'm taking that listing right away. So you're going to say something like, hey, he's not really selling anymore. He's been out speaking and coaching and training or whatever. So this was just an older agent that her kids have taken over the business and they're running their real estate office. And whoever got that listing used that line. Hey, they're not selling anymore. And then I saw another coaching client of mine that is a big agent in her market, and she's built a big team and leveraged herself. She literally posted a video that said, hey, just want to let you know, I'm still selling real estate. I'm here because she got a call from a client who listed with somebody else who said, oh, I didn't think you were selling real estate anymore. She went through a cancer thing. She's come out of that. She's very active in real estate, but she's managing it from her team level. So, bringing all that back in, guys, your list from those three sources alone have over 100 sales a year happening right now, not in front of you because you don't even know they're happening. But if you called all of every single name on that list every single month, you will begin to see how much business is being missed. And the only reason I know what it is because I turned my business over. I unplugged from it. They didn't follow the system. And since I've taken it back over, I have gone from where I was hitting 30 to 50 sales a year, ramped it back up to 60 to 70, and just got, put in the top 250 people in our company. Tony and I are both in the top 250 out of 82,000 agents.
Yay.
So, and that was just plugging in and getting back to the database, but it's been frantic, For 7 years, I am missing so much business. In fact, every sale that happens with somebody that's in my database, once I call to reconnect and see that they sold in these last 7 years, I've been tracking the commission. It's over $500,000 in
That's
simple.
it. By the way, and I just got to chime in here and say that I've experienced the same thing. People are like, oh wait, you're still selling real estate? I'm like, shit.
Dude, it's this is the first time in my career that is what people are thinking. So the relationship revolution more than ever is needed right now, right now. So do I got the slides up on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, it's showing good. So I'm going to go through this first session. So what I basically did was all of my systems are in this that we're covering every single week on Wednesday. And I'm just going to take you through an hour of material or 45 minutes of material each week to go through how I built it from square zero all the way up to the systems that manage 100 sales a year. So the first step, like Tony said, is for you to even begin to double and triple your business. Now, I'm not even talking about 100 sales a year right now. I'm talking about just double or triple what you're doing right now. And I'm talking about the phone rings and somebody says, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. And you will double or triple your business with your phone ringing to you. No cold calling, no buying leads, any of that stuff. Now we do have a great system where we have the lead capture system to grab people from the internet because you may need that to survive while you're putting your database in place. You got to keep doing everything that you've been doing to do the amount of business you're doing now. But if you don't start this today, you're not going to see the results for 6 months to 12 months where you're actually seeing two, three, four, five sales a month happening with the phone ringing to you, not you going out and finding the listing and trying to catch them before they list with somebody else. So if you don't start this fully today, you're just stretching that out even further and further and further. And the shiny objects will come along and you'll spend more money on this and that. You got to start on the database and layer this piece in. And for me, the very first step that I figured out was adding 5 people a day. And here's the other thing I'm going to tell you as we're talking about these systems, doing a contract to close system. You don't need that right now. You're not closing 7 or 8 deals a month. So you don't really need that right now. You're smart enough to handle the next contract you get. Or if you had a busy month and you had 3 this month or 4 this month, you can handle that running the way you've been doing it. But eventually, when you add 5 people a day, every single day, and you get them on the phone and you write them a handwritten note and you put them on a follow-up plan that's 8 touches in 8 weeks and you become top of mind. By the end of the first 6 months, you'll have 600 people that you're starting to be top of mind with. By 12 months from now, if you started on 5 people a day every day and you do not fail, like you are every day, 5 days a week, starting today, in 12 months, you will have 1,200 people that you are starting to become top of mind. And I say starting because the people from the month 12 and month 11 and month 10, you're not top of mind yet. They've only gotten 2 or 3 or 4 of your touches, and they've only heard from you on the phone once or maybe twice. But the people from today for the next 6 months, you are top of mind. They've heard your voice 3 to 4 times in the last 6 months. And this does not pile up to be 100 calls in one day. It doesn't even pile up to be 20 calls a day. If you got it on a system and you turn it on and you just make the calls that the system says it's time to make today, you're not going to be making more than 5 calls a day for the next 6 months. That's actually 9 months. From 6 months to 9 months, you might be making 10 calls a day, but your 10 calls are not cold calls. They are, hey, it's Tony again, just thinking about you. And most of the time, you're leaving a voicemail because it's nothing urgent. You're already top of mind. But what you're also going to find out is that more of these people actually do answer the phone. But because you connected, because you wrote the handwritten note, and the connection call is the one that sucks the most right now because you haven't been connected. So you're going to be stuck on the phone for them a little bit to hear what's going on in their life. They're going to want to know what's up with you. That call can take 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30, 40 minutes. And it's the hardest thing to break through. Just know that you need that to make every other future call last less than 10 seconds, right? The only time your calls in those future calls, when I say you might have 10 calls in 9 months from now, those 10 calls are so quick because you're connected from the very first call to the handwritten note. Your calls are just like, hey, I was just thinking of you today. Oh, you too. I'm looking for business for you. Whatever. It's so fast and so quick. And sometimes it's voicemails and it doesn't matter. They just need to hear your voice and you're staying top of mind. Okay. Everybody following me so far on this?
Yes.
What Why the system is so important is because if I add 5 people today and ask you to write them a handwritten note following the call, and let's say 5 people today that you actually connect with on the phone, you might dial 20 numbers to get 5 people to actually answer. So now tomorrow, I'm going to take the next 20 dials, right? And I'm going to get 5 people to answer. The next day, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dial 20 numbers, get 5 people to answer. Right now, just let's stop right there. 3 days into doing this, because this is about where you start going, oh my gosh, how am I getting, I don't know who I'm supposed to call next. You got what, 15, you got 45 people that you dialed the number and they didn't answer and you didn't connect. You've got 15 people that you connected and wrote the handwritten note to, right? So as you go through the process, how are you going to remember who those 45 were versus the 15 if you don't have a system? So the system would look like, I'm going to say 8 touches in 8 weeks, right? And the very first touch is to make a call. And actually, what you'd have a little shorter action plan. It'd be make a call. If you connect, start them on the 8 touch plan. If you don't connect, start them on whatever, some kind of drip plan, once a month thing, whatever it might be. So that everybody you're going through from A to Z is either getting something from you once a month, which that business alone, it will continue to get the results that you have right now. You might bump it up a little bit just because you're staying in front of every single person in your database at least once a month. Because right now you're not staying in touch with your database at all, right? And I'm talking to good people who are great database people. I know Julie's one of them. She is a connector, right? I know that. But yet, if you went through your database from A to Z, Julie, how many of those people have you talked to in the last 30 days? It hurts, doesn't it? Hurts
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Yes. Yeah.
So the system is I'm going to start a campaign that says, call this person. And then if I reach them, start the 8 touch plan. And then, so what happens is if I dial that number today, because that's on my list, and they answer, I go into their name while they're on there. Hey, how you doing? What have you been up to? How are the kids? Blah, blah, blah. Right then I'm canceling that plan and starting the 8 touch plan. And the first step in the 8 touch plan says send them a handwritten note. So that way I know my system knows that I connected with them and I've started the 8 touch plan. And the first step is the note. And then it's like an email, something that goes in the mail 7 days after that, another phone call a month later, another text message the week after that, maybe another email the
My
week after
glasses
that.
are
And then what's that? Go ahead.
overlapping.
Oh, might be background. And
Yeah,
then
just
another call.
make me co-host, Brad.
What's that?
Make me co-host, and
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Okay.
manage that.
Where do I need to do that? On the bottom here, hosting tools.
No, you just click on if you click on my name. If you click on you
Oh,
click
yeah,
on
there you go. Up
participants,
at
you can
your
do
little
it there.
dots. There we go. Make a co-host. Cool. I didn't know you weren't on there, Tony. So as those 8 touches go through in 8 weeks, the system, the database is saying, hey, it's been 7 days, do this next thing. Hey, it's been 7 days since that last thing you did, do this thing. My brain doesn't have to keep track of that. Right. So now what I do with call, and then if you've reached, start on the 8x8 plan. If not, start on the 12 touch plan, whatever those two things might be. I'm just kind of giving you a quick overview. So if I put that plan on my first 20 people in my database and hit start, that means tomorrow 20 names are going to pop up in my dashboard and say, call these people today. I'm going to call through, and the people I reach, I start on the 8x8. The people I don't, I start on a 12 touch. Then I'm going to go to the next 20 people in my database and start that plan for tomorrow. I'm going to go to the next 20 people and start that plan for 3 days from now. I'm going to go to the next 20 people and start that plan 4 days from now. You guys follow me here? So, what will happen is 20 people will kick out today, 20 people will kick out tomorrow, and I'm dialing every single number every single day nonstop. You're not going to get 15 of the people on the phone. You're going to talk to 5 people, and you're going to put them on the appropriate plan, and you're going to forget about them until you get to Z. By the time you get to Z, I mean, seriously, if you have 1,000 people in your database, that's 200 people that you've talked to. Did I do that math right? If you had 5 people a day, it'll be 5 people a
20,
day times, yeah, 25 people a week that you're talking to. It'll be 1,200 people that you will have talked to in the next year. So it's not something that you do today. You're not going to start tomorrow with 100 sales a year when you start this plan because you're not top of mind. These people are still going to move on you. In fact, most of those people you talk to, by the time you get through the first month or two, you're going to feel a little gut wrench. Like you're going to talk to somebody who's like, oh my gosh, it's great to hear from you. We just bought a house. We want you to come by and see it. It's beautiful. They didn't buy it with you.
yeah. Well, the other thing that I want to throw into that mix, Brad, because I just had a friend of mine help their kid buy a $2.4 million house out, not in my area, in another state. Yet, had I been talking about it and saying, hey, I can refer you out, that would have been 20K, 15, 20K
Yeah.
just for the referral that. So that's one thing that I would just like, add in there in the mix in the conversation. If they have kids, the kids are graduating college, they're getting married, whatever, just kind of make mention of that and maybe get the kids on the drip as well.
Yeah. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because you reminded me to mention this, Tony. Here's how the math works out on this. When you talk to those 5 people a day, how I know you will not be overwhelmed with business is because out of those 1,200 people that you would talk to in the next 12 months, so that's 5 a day, 5 days a week, 25 people a week, 100 people a month for the next 12 months, you would have talked to 1,200 people and wrote 1,200 notes, right? If everybody's moving every 5 years, that is 20%. So of that 1,200, 220 are moving, but not today. Of the 5 people you talk to today, they're not moving. Once I get through a month or two, maybe after 200 people I've done this, 2 people, maybe 3 or 4 are maybe thinking of buying or selling at this time because you're just you're getting top of mind and you're starting to move that back up. So in the first 2 month period, the most that you people that are probably moving out of those 200 people are 2 to 4. But you won't get 4 listings in 2 months because you weren't top of mind for those 4 people of the 200 that you've done. Does that make sense? This is a test to see if you're keeping up with the math, right? It's real simple math. So only 20% of your database is moving every year, and it's somewhere between 10 to 20% of your database is moving every year, right? If they're staying in their house 5 to 10 years, it's 10 to 20%. So that means that anytime you're talking to anyone, there is a less than 1 to 2% chance that they're buying or selling right now because you take 20% divided by 12 months and you get less than 1 or 2. Does that make sense? Everything we've done, everything we're going to continue to do, even with AI and technology and the things that will bring people up and tell you they're thinking about buying or selling, you still have to be top of mind or you're going to miss some of those. The technology will help us call those people after we do our 5 a day. We're going to keep going through 5 a day. We're just layering this piece in. And then I get this great tool that will sift out, like right now, of the internet leads. I've got 20% of our internet leads are communicating with me, but they're really communicating with AI. They just think it's me. So it's increased the communication rate, but I am not top of mind for these people. So even though they're having a conversation with me, until I pick up the phone, write them a handwritten note, and start them on the 8x8, I'm going to miss 90% of those. Does that make sense? So this is going to increase the results of everything that you're doing. So any questions on that so far before I just kind of go through the content and make sure I kind of get you through this first round of setting the mindset and starting this plan? Anybody have any questions about the numbers or calls or database or anything like that?
So far, so good, except it's 1,300, not 1,200. Just, yeah,
On what? On what?
the people reached if you do 5 a day and don't take a vacation time, because remember, we have 13 months, not
Oh
12.
yeah. No,
I
I'm
can,
saying take 2 days off a week, man. This is
all
hard
right.
work. This is
Okay,
hard.
just checking. Look,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of putting it out there,
5 days a
not
week.
to be that guy, but
Yeah, take a couple days off a week, man. If you do 5 a day, 5 days a week, man, your business is going to blow up.
yeah,
So yeah, but I'm glad you pointed that out. So some people are really hurting in real estate. We might tell them 10 a day, right? Because they need to speed this process up and get top of mind with 2,400 people by the end of the year. But I'm telling you, you're a great testament to that. 5 a day is not even a habit yet, right?
correct.
And I'm not even going to give you 3 because all you're doing is calling and connecting with people. You got to do 5 a day. Yeah, if you don't do that, you're not going to get to 100 sales in the next year to 2 years. My brother in Lincoln, Nebraska is a perfect example. It was my first expansion team. So I actually started a team in another state, in another city, and we started my brother with zero money, no money out of pocket. This was the other part of my laboratory. My real estate business is my laboratory for you guys. So I literally wanted to start a successful real estate business with no money out of pocket because I had wasted so much money, along with probably you guys, on everything we buy and sell. And so when I say no money, I'm saying my brother got his real estate license, and I told him, all I want you to do is go through your cell phone list, your social media list, write every name in a notebook, find an address and phone number, and I want you to call every day until you get 5 people on the phone. I want you to write them a note, and you're going to put them in the database. Now, I manage the database from here in Kansas City, and he was in Lincoln, Nebraska, right? All he did was feed the database every day with the people that he connected. I started the 8x8 and I sent him his to-do list every day. He didn't even go to the database or see the dashboard or anything. I just said, hey, here's the people you need to call today. Here's your to-dos on send this text message or go find them on social media, whatever it might be. All the emails ran from here. All the mail ran from here. I did all the mailings for him. And when I say all the mailings, I mean, even today, I'm mailing 100 letters every 3 or 4 days, right? I go buy $600 worth of postage and it takes me all month to get through it. Anyway, so I started his business and I said, all I want you to do is just call people, be Jason, call in, say, what's up? How you doing? They don't even know he's a real estate agent yet. What we did was in his business, we took 50% of any commissions that he was going to make and put them in the Corn Team Fund. And he lived off the 50%, which this is another coaching thing. When I tell people if they want to start a team and you're wondering what your splits should be, well, anytime you're doing the role of the person you're bringing into your business, I want you to live off of what you say you're going to pay them. That makes sense, Tony? So if you're going to give your buyer's agents 50% split, then I want you to, when you're showing houses, you only touch half of that commission to live off of. The other half goes into the team pot. Well, what we did was in 6 months, so understand nothing happened for a month or two. He picked up one quick sale right away, found a friend, or they heard he was in real estate after a few days, few months or whatever. But after 6 months, he had 3 or 4 sales. So now we had enough money in the pot to buy his signs. So he was listing houses using the generic company sign that his office would let. I mean, really, if you're a new agent and you walk into an office and go, I just got a listing, I don't have any signs. They're like, here's one. And it's just a generic one, doesn't have his name on it. He didn't need any branding in the first 30 and 60 days of selling real estate. And the purpose was to see if we could start this with zero money out of pocket, right? So what we did was we let the business build up enough funds in that 50% we kept, and then we bought 10 signs branded for the Corn Team, right? Then we sold a few more houses. We built that back up. And then we bought some advertising and we started advertising our listings. Other than that, the first 6 months in business, none of that other stuff mattered. But so many people bury themselves in debt. And then by you get time you get your first two or three sales, you're still broke because you're trying to catch up with everything. So we built that into a 25 to 30 sale a year business for 10 years. He did not feed the database five a day. He tried and he would do like five today, five tomorrow. And then he was like, okay, who am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do? It's like, dude, just follow the plan, right? And then he wouldn't feed for 3 or 4 days. And then he would do one or two. And then he just never did it consistently. And he sat at 25 to 30 sales a year from his very first year for 10 years. But that was enough for him to buy a house, pay off all their debt, and go back to what he loves to do, and that's owning a bowling alley. His in-laws own two bowling alleys. Him and his wife have taken those over, and now he has $1 million worth of business assets in his bowling alley. So that's what he loves to do. So anyway, real estate funded that for him, but he didn't do it consistently, but he built a consistent business off of that because he was just a relationship guy. So anyway, yeah. So I want to go through some of this stuff. The mindset is to feed the database every day. And this came from something that I saw in a book. It was the four laws. The law, when I say law, I mean like gravity will pull you to the earth. That's just a law. Four laws of lead generation are to build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it systematically, consistently, persistently. And then when you do that, you will get business and then you service that business red carpet, Disney style, and you will get more business and you'll get referrals and you'll get all that stuff. Most people build a database and then the business that they get, they service it, but they don't feed it every day and they don't communicate with it systematically. We just said that a minute ago. How many people in your list have heard your voice in the last 30 days? Right. And if you go from A to Z, I'm going to tell you it's probably 99.999% have not heard your voice in the last 30 days. And understand this too. The databases are designed to try and keep you in the field selling more real estate, and they're doing everything on automation. And automation is not how you get relationships started, nor is it how you keep relationships. Shaking hands, kissing babies, talking to people, how are you, giving them your time is relationship stuff, right? We had a date night last night. Me and Lynette had a date night last night. We didn't sit on two opposite ends of the pool and text each other all night long, right? Or I sat here in the house and she was out at the pool and we had date night texting each other. My kids have done this, by the way. My daughter has had a girl spend the night and she's upstairs in the bedroom. The girl's down in the basement and I saw them texting. And this was a while back. They were like 12 or 13 and they were texting each other. I'm like, you girls are having a sleepover. Get your butt up there and go hang out. So that's relationships are face to face. And what I'm telling you is we're just going to layer this piece into everything you do from now on. So the mindset that I want you to have right here, every human being from today forward should hear your voice a few times a year. So you're going to need a system for that. But they should hear your voice. I don't care if you go drive by their house and knock on the door, whatever it is, you're having a two-way conversation with them a few times a year, and then let all the other automation can run in between. But those communications are the ones that will turn into 100 sales a year. Anytime you back off of that, you're just going to drop out of top of mind and you lose it. So I have a great automation follow-up. I've got mail. I mean, Tony talks about my mail pieces all the time. We hear people talk about, oh my God, I got a letter from Brad. I got a note from Brad. But that by itself will help me double or triple what I would have done without it, but it won't get me 100 sales a year. Okay. If I just went off my natural follow-up, I'm going to close 10 to 20 deals a year. If I add in this follow-up system with the automation, I might get 20 or 30 sales a year. If I just add the phone call and the personal touch 3 to 4 times a year, it goes to 6, 7, 8 times the business. It is closing 8 to 10 deals a month versus closing 3 deals a month. Does that make sense? So those 2 years that my business was in somebody else's hands and they did not stay up with the systems, what happens is those systems come to an end and it says, this follow-up plan is about to stop. You need to restart the next one. So for 2 years, all these plans stopped. So it was at least 2,400 people in my database, a plan stopped. 2,400 people moving every 10 years is 240 deals, right? So that was 240 deals a year that went away and my business dropped in half. So here's what you want to think about. What are the top wants and needs of your customers? Because what you're going to start doing is what makes this experience working with you so awesome. You're going to track what you do that makes you awesome. And you're going to put that into campaigns and action plans. What do customers complain most about in the service they receive in real estate? What do you think the biggest complaint is today that the consumers have with their real estate agent? Let's say you got a seller on the market right now and they're approaching the 60, 90-day mark, which is that the market for most of us? Are we in a 60, 90-day turnaround? Do they still think we're in the multiple offer market and they should have gotten like 5 offers the first day they hit the market?
Yeah, in New Jersey, it's still kind of like that in some of the areas.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on the area. It's real spotty. So if that's happening and they're hearing friends talk about, oh, we got 2 offers the first day we hit the market, and you've got their house on the market and it's 60 days, what's the biggest complaint they have? They don't know what's going on with their house. Are you even marketing their house, right? But it's a 60 to 90-day market. In fact, I just posted it. If you go to YouTube, or actually, if you just go to Google and type Brad Korn level up, you'll see the most recent video I just recorded is my market review system for my sellers to regain their confidence. How you will, every 2 to 3 weeks, they will, even if they sat on the market for 90 days, they will know that they hired the right agent, even though you haven't done your job yet. Or we have, but it seems like we haven't. So that market review just regains their confidence. And then if your clients don't receive the level of service they want, what happens? Do you know what's happening with your listings, your sellers right now when they hit the 60 and 90-day mark? I mean, I've got one right now. They're out in the boonies. There's nothing else that has sold since they listed with me. So we haven't missed any buyers. But right now, they're talking to people going, why isn't our house sold? What do we need to do different? And somebody at work is like, oh my gosh, my sister used so and so and they sold it in one day, right? So those conversations and that doubt is being built, and you don't even know it if you're not staying in touch with people. So again, one of the follow-up systems, contract to close, what I figured out when I created a system for that process is that there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens right when the contract gets accepted. Is the appraisal ordered? We got to do inspections, getting the copy of the contract to the lender, all this stuff. And it's closing in 45 days. So nothing happens for 30 days in the middle. That first week is super busy. And then all of a sudden, the week before closing, you're like, oh my gosh, we got to set up the closing. We got to do the walkthrough. We got to make sure the loan's done. Did the appraisal come back good, right? But there's 30 days in the middle there that every top team that I came in and set these systems up for had no communication for that 30 days. And there, I have actually had clients when I build in this communication. So, like every week or every 2 weeks, something goes out to say, hey, the process is moving along. Here's what to expect next. That's one thing. Consumers just want to know what's next, right? Would you believe that before this system was running, I would call a seller and they'd be like, hey, do we really have a contract on our house? And I'm like, how could you even be asking me this question? It was accepted 3 weeks ago. But there was no communication at once it was accepted, and they were just wondering. They didn't know. Not every client feels that way, but so these are the things that you start. Everything that happens through every process is how are you keeping them informed? How are you staying in front of them? If you want to get more referrals from your past clients, and this is where I want you to get real too. You hear these people talk about all the time. I'm 100% referral business. I'm 98% referral business. Do you know that if you're a 98% referral business, you're probably the worst marketing realtor on the planet because it means you got no internet calls, no sign calls, no any other business from anywhere but your referral business. Come on. Nobody's 98% referral business unless they are sitting in a cave and they're top of mind with those people. Does that make sense? It also means you're a crappy listing agent because my listings, when I list a house, the process from the time you list until you get a contract is focused on making sure I'm getting the most exposure possible. Am I getting calls from that sign? Am I picking up buyers? So, talk about a leveraged real estate business. If you get a listing, listings attract who?
Buyers.
Buyers. Do we make about the same amount of money helping a buyer versus helping a seller? Yeah,
Yep.
a little more work, right? But if I'm going to get the effort to be the one that they pick to market their house, wouldn't it be great to get three buyers off every listing before it closes? You could quadruple your business right there. Why would you not? I mean, I love these people that like you don't want any buyer business from your listing. You're trying to sell your listing for the most money possible and you're not attracting buyers. Who's the best person to sell the listing? You, right? So if your system is not generating three buyers, this was just my set. My standard was when I listed a house, even if it got a contract today, that we had the system and the marketing in place to get three buyers off every listing before we sold it. That would help me grow my business and add more people to the database and get more referral business. So when I come back to that, it's like, you want more referral business? How many of your, like, how many houses did you sell last year? Pull those people up. And now I want you to go through and see how many of them actually gave you a referral that turned into business and closed. And do that for every year that you've been in real estate. We're lucky if there's one or two referrals for every 20 clients we sell. Is that true? Has anybody got a different number that's just hands down that's not true? That I'm getting 10 or 20 referrals from 20 clients? No. But doesn't it seem like we should get a referral from every single client if we blow their socks off? So
Yeah.
this brings this point to all these systems is that when I realized it's a system driven business like Disney, Walt Disney, or Disneyland and Disney World has a system from the time you check in, how to blow your experience out of the water. So when you come back, you're telling people about your Disney experience, right? So when we get a referral, my biggest fear was I just delivered the greatest service ever. This house sold for over asking price. It sold fast. I let them know what was going on. I got 100,000 views on realtor.com and Zillow and all this other stuff. And then they refer me somebody, but they refer me that week that I'm going to Cancun to my daughter's wedding, right? And I'm just running off of my experience. I don't deliver the same level of experience. And so they referred me somebody based on that great experience, and now I'm not coming through. So the reason we don't get more referrals is because it's not consistent. And you drop the ball on one person, and now you'll never get any more referrals because they went out on a limb. But when you have a system that runs and it's the same way every single time, I mean, people that have sold with me 4 times in the last 30 years, it's the exact same experience from last time. Now, they don't remember it because it was 5 years ago. But when they're going through the process, they knew everything that was going to happen when it was going to happen. So, in this, your big vision, the systems will give you the discipline to deliver the same level of experience every single time. And they know that's when your referrals turn into, oh, you need to call Brad Korn. He definitely knows what he's doing because they know it's going to be the same experience. So what are your when you're first going through these systems and setting them up, what are your absolute must happen every single time? And then you're going to start adding in the little details too, so that at some point you could actually leave your business for 2 or 3 weeks and every detail is in there and it's you that's happening. Again, we're going to go through that process and build some of these systems. But how you build raving fans is exactly giving them what they expect to get every single time. So yeah, we're already at 11:30. Can you believe that? So let me get through here because I'm going to give you a list of some things to do before next week's call. How do you really hold yourself accountable? If you want to hold yourself accountable to doubling and tripling your business, create a campaign that says make a phone call and start the next plan. And you put it on every single person in the database. Do a chunk today, a little chunk tomorrow, a little chunk, even if it's five today, five tomorrow, five the next day. That's probably the better way to start versus 20 because you got to get in the habit first. But in about 2 months, you can bump that up to 10 and bump it up to 20. But if you want to hold yourself accountable to like really connecting with your database, put a campaign in place and you have to do those things every single day. 5 calls a day, every day, 5 calls a day, every day. And start at A, do 5 today, start B, do 5 tomorrow, start C's, do 5 the next day until you get to Z. And if you start a campaign that starts in 3 days, 3 days from now, after you've been doing this, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm starting to lose track of what I'm doing. Who did I write my notes to? In 3 days, you're just calling your next 5 people and you're doing what it says to do next. So that's how the system is going to help you hold yourself accountable and work in your business, not just on your business. And that's what I did. I spent 6 months creating the perfect follow-up plan, the perfect message. And then I'm just going to give you guys a little secret. All of the content that you send them to stay top of mind, they're not reading anyway. So quit worrying about having the perfect piece, the perfect message. Also keep this in mind. 99%, I'll give you 98% aren't even buying or selling real estate right now. So you don't even need real estate content. You don't need, you just need to send them something so they see your name and see you're in real estate. It could be one of your favorite poems. I mean, I send Chicken Soup from the Soul Stories. I've just sent a bunch out there like, why geese fly in a V formation? There's nothing in the letter about hiring Brad Korn will be the goose that leads your V formation. I don't need to sell that crap because 98% of them aren't moving right now. Here's what's more funny. If I send that letter to somebody today and they get my why geese fly in a V formation and they actually are thinking about selling, guess what? They still call me. And they didn't even read the V formation thing. They get a letter in the mail, Corn team, real estate. Oh, that's who I need to call. So don't get caught up in the content. I wasted 6 months of my life doing that. And then I finally just started feeding the database every day with no content and no follow-up. And I made $50,000 more in my account than I'd ever made in real estate before 6 months later. Meaning I added 5 people a day. So I added 500 people to my, or 600 people to my database in that 6 month period with no follow-up. This is 30 years ago. I knew I needed the follow-up, but I was wasting too much time doing the follow-up versus feeding the database and making the calls. So all I did was make the calls and write the notes, and I added $50,000 to my bottom line. Then when I added the systems in place after that, so now understand 600 people were not getting my follow-up plan. I did the next 5 for the next 6 months. I did that another 600 people, but now I started the plans. And that's when I started going to 100 sales a year. And it went from 30 sales to 50 to 75. Actually, I doubled every year. I went from 30 to 75 to 120. And then I just kind of plateaued right there. Never really had my team much bigger than 5 or 6 people. But those systems will help you stay focused on the stuff that you need to do, which is feeding your database every day. Expand your database should grow every single day. If you add 5 people today, that means you probably talked to them. That means you should have written a handwritten note. Your database and your note should match. So here's what the action items are. Like if you were going through this course, which this is going to be a formal course, once you guys get this and apply a couple of things, and you're like, all right, there's 19 hours of content here. I need to get focused. But I need you to at least double or triple your business on this stuff so that you see that there's way more business in your database than you can imagine. So create a master list. Write down every name from those lists that we talked about earlier today. Just get the name in a notebook. Wherever you're getting the name from is going to sometimes have a phone number, mostly have an email, probably doesn't have the address very often. Don't even focus on that yet. Just get the names captured and get all your list into one notebook. Then what you're going to do is go back in that list. Once you get all the names in there, every name from every spreadsheet, email list, cell phone, social media list, who's following you, who you're following, get all those names in there. Now, because those names are on a list somewhere, I'm going to look at the first name and go, all right, I'm going to pull up all my list and find this person's name. Oh, there's a phone number. Oh, there my cell phone actually on iPhone actually found their address once in a while. So then I check tax records, and sure enough, that matches up. They're still the tax owner. So I'm going to add the phone number and the address in there. I actually don't even care if you do emails right now. You're not going to lose anything by not putting their email in this notebook. What the notebook becomes to for you is that's your call list every day. That's the 20 numbers that you dial that you have an address for to get the 5 people to now go back to your database and see if those 5 people are in there. Let me tell you already what I can tell you is going to happen. If you literally do this and take your friends' social media list, your cell phone list, 70% of those people in that notebook are not even in your database. The one I just told you, my friend that I've probably closed 10 deals with, he was the best man at my wedding. He tells everyone to call me. His son, his youngest son, was not in my database. Not in my database. His older son was. That's why he knew to call me. But his youngest son was not even in the database. He's never had a drip plan from me. In fact, I've never called him because he's not in my database. So I was not top of mind for him, even though Tim said something, somebody else got it. So if he had been for these last 20 years, I would have had that business, hands down. So start finding addresses and phone numbers. So here, I'm going to keep it so simple. Master list notebook, get every name captured and just find phone numbers and addresses. Anything else you add is fine, but you want addresses and phone numbers so you have an actual list to call every day and you can write a handwritten note. Because what I know you're going to do is when you call and get them on the phone, you're going to ask them, hey, are you still on XYZ Street? You're just going to naturally put that into your conversation because you're looking at an address in your notebook. Hey, are you still in Excelsior Springs? Oh, no, we moved from there like 5 years ago. It's like, oh, yeah, they're going to get that call too. So don't give up. But anyway, that's what you need so that you're not spending too much time trying to find another number for somebody to call today. This is not cold call lead generation, trying to get them on the phone stuff. You're going to leave a message if you get them, and then you would either put them on well, you're not going to put them on anything yet because you don't have any of these campaigns or action plans in your database. If you do this and you write 5 notes a day, every day for the next month, next 30 days, we'll meet 3 more times in the next 30 days. You will be ready for a follow-up plan. And that's about when we start talking about how to create just that 8-touch plan. Until then, you really don't need it. Just call and write the note and watch what happens to your business in the next 30 days. Track it and share it with us here. All right. So I know we kind of went over a little bit today. I get a little excited when I start kicking this thing off. Any questions? Can y'all handle this master list, this notebook, phone numbers and addresses? These are already people you have in your database, but your database has probably only got 10 or 20% of your contact records have an address with them. In fact, as you go through this and you're filling in the notebook, you're going to see you have a lot of people's emails. Maybe the next one will be phone numbers, but you have very few addresses, and their address is accessible to us in the tax records. Fastpeoplesearch.com is a great one. It will show you their current address, and then we just go back to tax records and see if their name is on the tax record. If they're a renter, most likely the address that it gave you on fastpeoplesearch.com, when you go to the tax record, the owner is listed under a different address. Well, that's real easy to figure. Oh, so they're renting, right? So anyway, just work on your master list and work on your master list now. Next week, if you have 100 or more phone numbers and addresses, you're going to be able to go to the next step and start doing the calls. All I want you to work on this week is get address and phone number for as many people as you can. The more you get in that master list for next week's call, the more you're going to start to double and triple your business in the next few months. All right?
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Julie,
Thanks, Brad.
you're gonna own
Appreciate that.
this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Brad.
you betcha, Annabelle.
Hey, I'll connect with you in 2 weeks.
Yep, you enjoy your vacation. Don't work on your master list yet. We'll catch you up later.
Yes. It's
You
it's
probably already
all in
have
my
one.
mind.
I was gonna say you already have one started, I hope.
No, I do. I do. I
I
do.
know you do. I know you do. So you're okay. All right.
All righty. Take care.
Trisha, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you got some good information out of this.
Great class. Thank you.
Yes.
You bet.
And
Thank
We're
you
make
gonna
sure
so
you
much.
invite some people for next week because the more people we have here, the more impact we can make in other agents as well. So don't keep this a secret.
Yeah, Trisha's another one you guys better watch. She's been in business for a long time. This one simple thing can explode exponentially. So we're gonna have some fun, Trisha.
Exciting.
All right, guys, have a great week. I'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Bye, guys.
Bye.